You know how some people seem to have this kind of moral Teflon? No matter what they do, criticism just doesn't seem to stick. It turns out there's a really powerful cognitive bias at play here, and it all comes down to how we first see them.
I mean, you've probably seen this pattern everywhere, in the news, in your community, maybe even among your own friends. Someone gets wronged, and from that moment forward, it's like they get a free pass for everything else. And no, you're not imagining it. There's a very specific psychological trigger going off in our heads.
And when this happens, it's like our usual sense of fairness just goes right out the window. Suddenly, questionable actions get defended, excuses are made. So what in the world is going on? Well, it's a powerful mental shortcut our brains just love to take. This whole phenomenon has a name. It's called the indelible victim effect, and it comes from some fascinating research by Peter DeScioli. The key word here is indelible, because once this perception is formed in our minds, it's incredibly difficult, almost impossible, to erase.
A really great way to think about it is like this. Being seen as a victim can basically act as a moral get-out-of-jail-free card. It's as if that initial moment of suffering kind of prepays for any future mistakes, giving them an exemption from the kind of judgment everyone else would face.
And here's the absolute core of the effect. That label, victim, doesn't just get them our sympathy. It seems to permanently freeze our moral judgment of them. Our brain effectively takes a snapshot of that person in their moment of suffering and then just locks it in. That becomes their permanent identity in our eyes.
So this creates this permanent moral shield, right? Once we've decided someone is a victim, any information that conflicts with that idea, like evidence of their own bad behavior, it often just bounces right off. That original story is just too powerful to be changed.
Okay, so how does this moral shield get built so fast and so strong? Well, the answer is in the battle between our emotions and our judgment. And honestly, it's a battle that our emotions almost always win.
It all happens in a split second. First, we see someone get hurt. Instantly, we feel that pang of empathy. And then, bam, our judgment is fixed. Before our rational brain even has a chance to catch up and analyze the situation, our emotional response has already locked them in as the good guy.
At the end of the day, our emotion is in the driver's seat. That initial gut punch of sympathy we feel for someone's suffering is so incredibly powerful that it basically hijacks our ability to logically assess anything they do from that point on.
But to really get a handle on this effect, we've got to be really clear about what it's not. There's another, similar sounding idea that gets mixed up with it all the time, and telling them apart is crucial. So think about a totally different kind of moral puzzle. What about acts that feel deeply, deeply wrong, but there's no clear single person who got hurt? The classic example is someone burning a national flag. No one person is physically harmed, but a lot of people have a powerful, negative, emotional reaction. This isn't the indelible victim effect. This is something else entirely.
So here's the key difference, right here. The indelible victim effect is all about a person. Their moral status gets locked in stone. But with something like the flag burning, the focus is on the action. We're condemning the act itself, not because it hurt one specific person, but because we feel this kind of harm by proxy on behalf of a whole group, in this case maybe veterans. So one effect shields a person, the other one condemns an act.
Okay, so this isn't just some weird psychological quirk to read about and then forget. Understanding this bias is actually critical because it shapes everything from jury decisions and public opinion all the way down to how we deal with our own personal relationships. So when you put all the pieces together, a few really big things become clear. It shows us that our judgments are way less rational than we like to believe, and they often get set in stone by just a fleeting emotional reaction. It also means that the victim label is an incredibly powerful tool that can be used to create permanent biases that are almost impossible to undo. This is a huge reason why some public debates feel so stuck. Once a victim story takes hold, it's pretty much never open for revision.
And that really leaves us with a challenge in question for you. Now that you know this effect exists, can your judgment of other people ever truly be the same? Think about it. The next time you feel that powerful, immediate rush of sympathy, maybe just pause and ask yourself, is my mind being made up for me right here, right now?